Mark Francois is a Conservative MP who's kind of hidden from the limelight in recent years. The last time I saw him was in February 2020 when we debated on Jeremy Vine how a Brexit that he supported was affecting the NHS. So when I caught up with him outside the Conservative Party conference, I decided to pull him up on how exactly that had played out during the pandemic. During the crisis, we saw a staffing shortage, and we've seen a 90% drop in the applications of EU nurses. You said when I told you that
good conference, mate.
When I told you that every single medical body said that Brexit would make it bad for the NHS, you said let's try it. And over 140,000 doctors across the UK said that Brexit will be bad for the NHS.
Mark, there's one way to find out, isn't there?
Let's
try it.
We then went through a pandemic where we had a 90% drop in EU nursing applications.
Good conference.
And our main weakness was a lack of staff. So your policy, which you said let's try, weakened us during our most vulnerable moment in UK history since the Second World War. Do you feel proud of that?
My wife works in the National Health Service.
Yes, and it's been weakened by the Brexit you supported.
So I know quite a lot about it.
Both my parents are doctors, so I've got two on your one.
Yeah, off you go.
Do you feel happy about what you've done?
Work and harass you.
Do you feel happy about what you've done? Do you feel happy about what you've done?
I'm pleased we left the European Union.
But I wasn't getting anywhere on the NHS, so I figured I'd try the economy in general. Your Office of Budget Responsibility says that we've lost a 4% drop in GDP because of a Brexit you supported. You're supposed to be the party of sensible economics.
The economy grew in the second quarter, it didn't shrink.
Which he knows is a cop-out answer because his own Office of Budget Responsibility says that loss of 4% of GDP is relative to where we would have been if not for the damage to trade that his Brexit has done to us. We're also set to have the slowest growth in the G20. Just general growth, which is supposed to happen anyway, even though we've lost 4%, an equivalent of £100 billion. You did that to us. Are you happy with yourself?
You're right,
No, I'm not
Sorry.
okay.
Are you happy with yourself?
I'm not okay, I'm being fucking harassed.
Now that last bit is really interesting because I happened to get that from another angle. You can see her running to catch up with me, and yet she says,
I'm being fucking harassed.
and even Mark Francois knew it was nonsense because he even had to shush her. So I invite you, and especially black people, to leave a comment below with a word describing exactly what she was doing. But what about the suffering you've caused?
Go away.
But yeah, Tory MP Mark Francois was warned by every medical body in the UK that his Brexit would damage the NHS, and a week later a pandemic hit during which we suffered from a lack of NHS staff, exacerbated by a Brexit that told every EU nurse and doctor in the UK that they'd have fewer rights here in the UK, and we saw a 90% drop in EU nursing applications. And then we ended up with 200,000 deaths, and all he had to say for himself is,
Go away.
what about